So I'm getting ready to get behind. Let me get to myself here. Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
I'd like to call the May meeting of the Edgecombe County Commissioners to order. Ms. Harris, would you please do them, please?
Dear Heavenly Father, we just thank you for another day of life, health, and strength. Lord, we thank you for those that are here, those who may be listening. Lord, we ask that you guide our minds and guide our tongues, that we might do what is right for all citizens in Edgecombe County. In your Son Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, Ms. Harris. Ms. Evans, safety instruction, please.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to invite Ms. Natalie Vest, our Deputy County Manager, to present to us our safety instructions.
Good evening.
Good evening.
To provide for the safety of those attending this meeting, please listen to the following instructions in case of an emergency. First, please take a moment to note where your exits are. If an emergency arises that prompts us to evacuate, please exit this room in a quick and orderly manner through one of the two doors to your right, and then proceed to the nearest stairwell, directions to which are indicated by the exit signs. Once you exit the building, we ask that you safely cross Granville Street, which is the street that runs beside our building, to our parking lot to be safely away from the building. Our staff will help provide additional directions and assistance as needed. In the case of a tornado warning, please exit this room into the hallway, where we will all remain until it is safe to exit. And in the event of an active shooter in the building, if there is an accessible escape path, please run and try to evacuate the premises. If you can't evacuate, find a place to hide where you are less likely to be found and lock any doors that you can. And as a last resort, and only if your life is in imminent danger, please fight. Our staff will provide additional assistance on what to do. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Ms. Bass. At this time, are there any additions or deletions to this agenda?
Mr. Chairman, I would like to ask the board to consider adding an additional contract change order to the agenda. You have a copy at your place. And if you're agreeable to that, we will cover that change order when we do the other contract.
Any objections? Hearing no objection, it is added. At this time, ladies and gentlemen, we also, we have, when it gets to public petitions or our public hearings, we ask you to sign up. If there's anybody here that has not signed up, we'll give you an opportunity to do that now, because once we start, if you're not signed up, you will not be able to speak. Also, just make you aware, there's nothing on this agenda related to the data centers. Is that correct?
That's correct, Mr. Chairman.
Have you signed up? There's nothing on this agenda. You have signed up? If you have, you're all right. Okay. Anybody else? Hearing none, we'll move on. You have your previous minutes in the agenda. Are there any additions or corrections? If not, is there a motion?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
Questions? All in favor, let it be known by the voting sign aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Hearing none, they are approved. Moving on, scheduled appointments, Mr. Evans.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. Before I invite guests here, friend here with us tonight, I do want just a friendly reminder to us all. Make sure that when we talk, if you're not in front of the microphone, make sure that you pull it close to you. We have those in the room who may have difficulty hearing, as well as those who are watching us remotely through our YouTube channel. So, but thank you for that. We're excited tonight to recognize another graduating class from our Edgecombe Works Office Academy program. This has been a wonderful partnership between the county and Edgecombe Community College, and so happy to invite Dr. Greg McLeod, our president, community college president, to the podium tonight to recognize our staff graduates.
Good evening, commissioners.
Good
Good
evening.
evening, County Manager Evans, staff, and guests and visitors. It is my honor and privilege to stand before you, but to stand with you in celebration of the latest class of the Edgecombe Works Office Skills Academy. So we're going to recognize them tonight. But just to give you a little background, this program focuses on helping to provide skills training or enhanced training for those in the office environment, learn skills such as through OSHA 10, which is workplace health and safety, Working Smart, which is your soft skills development and customer service, and also Lean Six Sigma, which is focused on process improvement, efficiency, and leadership, as well as a few other things such as Microsoft Office and other basic skills and accounting functions. So it's designed to help them be better at what they do, but then also to provide those growth opportunities for them. So this current class that we have before you is part of a subset of a larger class. We had 18 students this past semester participate in the Office Skills Academy. Those are comprised of all residents of Edgecombe County, and 5 of those were county employees who were recognized tonight. And then also we recently finished our Hands-On Skills Academy. That is the academy where they learn different things out in the field, such as construction and maintenance-related functions at the college. And we had 16 residents of the county take advantage of that as well. So thank you for your continued support. Thank you for your partnership with that. So without further ado, I have with me signed certificates for the 5 county employees who will recognize. I believe 4 of them are here tonight, but I want to go on record and name all 5 of them. So when I call their name, which way you want us to have?
I think you just come stand up right beside you.
Stand right beside me. All right.
Sheriff, you want to come on up too? These your folks. Come on up.
Okay.
I know you want to be up here. I'm not going to hear your lip after this, okay?
So once I call their name, they'll get the certificate from me and then walk over to Sheriff Atkinson, okay? Ms. Takoya Cohen. Let's give her a hand. Mr. Donovan Dickens. Miss Melissa Pierce. And Miss Bertina Spragley.
They passed the test?
Yes, they passed
That's
their
a
final
joke. That's a
exam.
joke, everybody.
And then someone who could not be with us, and they're from the
Water and sewer.
Water and Sewer, is Debrielle Thomas. So we're going to pass this on to her. All right. Thank you again. I think we'll pose for some pictures. Right?
Yeah,
So I'd like to have them come up behind the commissioners.
Come on, Sheriff.
Make sure you don't get behind the shorty.
Y'all need to be in the middle. Let me get on that side. Let me switch.
There you go.
And maybe push the mic down. Are you going to take it? Or are you taking it at an angle? Okay. All right, we good? Okay.
If you want to make any comments, go ahead. I'm good. Good. Thank you. Okay. Well, on behalf of the board, this is a fine, Sheriff, you got good taste. You did good. You hired a good group of people. We just had dinner with them and a conversation with them, and we just want to thank them for being such good employees to the county and thank them for their service. Thank you so much. Moving on.
Next, we have a public hearing tonight, Mr. Chairman, and this is for the Down East Home Consortium. Just as a reminder, Edgecombe County gets to be a part of what's called Down East Home Consortium. It is a federally funded HUD program through the HOME program. The City of Rocky Mount is the lead entity, and we and other of our municipalities are able to be a part of this. And so it is time for our annual action plan to be approved, and it requires public hearing for that. And I'd like to invite up tonight Ms. Cornelia McGee, who's the Director of Housing and Community Development for the City of Rocky Mount, who will walk through it with us.
Good evening, Commissioners,
Good evening.
County Manager Evans, and others. Thank you for allowing me to be a part of your agenda this evening.
Excuse me. Let me back up, okay? Okay. Let me back up, please. Let me call this meeting to order, okay? And Mr. Peters, please read the public notice.
Yes, sir. The City of Rocky Mount and the Down East Home Consortium have prepared the annual action plan for fiscal year 2026 for the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development HUD, Community Development Block Grant CDBG program, and the Home Investment Partnerships Program Home Funds. The annual action plan for fiscal year 2026 outlines how the city intends to expend an estimated $501,884 in CDBG funds and $358,801 in home funds. The proposed CDBG and home funds are based on an estimated HUD allocations. Upon receipt of the actual 2026 HUD award amounts, the city will adjust the budgets accordingly and incorporate any required revisions into the annual action plan. In order to obtain the views of citizens, public agencies, and other interested parties, the plan will be available for 30-day public review period beginning April 2nd, 2026 through May 5th, 2026 at the following locations. In Rocky Mount, North Carolina, the Office of Housing and Community Development, Frederick E. Turnage Municipal Building, 331 South Franklin Street, Rocky Mount, NC 27804, and online at rockymountnc.gov. Edgecombe County, NC, Edgecombe County Administration Building, Commissioners Room, second floor, 201 St. Andrew Street, Suite 205, Tarboro, North Carolina, 27886. Notice is also given that the two public hearings are scheduled to provide an opportunity for citizens to comment on the draft plan, proposed projects, and proposed substantial amendments as follows. In Rocky Mount, North Carolina, Monday, April 13th, 2026 at 7 o'clock p.m., Frederick E. Turnage Municipal Building, third floor, 331 South Franklin Street, Rocky Mount, NC 27804. In Edgecombe County, North Carolina, Monday, May 4th, 2026 at 6 o'clock p.m., Commissioners Room, second floor, 201 St. Andrew Street, Tarboro, North Carolina, 27886. Both public hearing locations are accessible to persons with physical disabilities. Anyone requiring special accommodations or a presentation in language other than English should contact Cornelia McGee, Housing and Community Development Director at Cornelia McGee Anthony at RockyMountNC.gov, or by calling 252-972-1178 at least 48 hours in advance of the hearing date and time. The city is also proposing substantial amendments to the 2018, 2019, and 2020 annual action plans as described in the table below. These amendments are necessary to transfer funds from the previously planned projects and ensure timely expenditures. The draft amendments are available for a 30-day public review and comment period from April 2nd, 2026 through May 5th, 2026, and total $201,703.70. The proposed amendments will transfer available CHDO set-aside funds in the amount of $201,703.70 to a down payment assistance project that will facilitate home ownership for eligible low-income households. All interested citizens are encouraged to attend one or both public hearings, and they will be given the opportunity to present oral or written comments concerning the proposed use of CDBG and home funds included in the plan. Written comments may also be addressed to Cornelia McGee, MPA Director, Housing and Community Development, 331 South Franklin Street, Post Office Box 1180, Rocky Mount, NC 27802. Written comments on the draft 2026 annual action plan and proposed substantial amendments are encouraged and should be received no later than May 5th, 2026 for consideration. It is anticipated that the City Council for the City of Rocky Mount will consider the annual action plan and proposed substantial amendments at its regular meeting on May 11th, 2026 at 7 o'clock p.m. in the City Council Chambers, 331 South Franklin Street, Rocky Mount, NC. Upon approval by City Council, the annual action plan will be submitted to the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development HUD on or after May 16, 2026.
Any additional comments, Mr. Evans?
No, sir, Mr. Chairman. As I mentioned, Ms. McGee is here tonight to give us an overview of the annual action plan.
Please go ahead, Ms. McGee.
And she does have a presentation. I think they'll be pulling it up.
Good evening again.
Good evening.
The agenda for this evening includes providing an overview of the 2026 Annual Action Plan, reviewing the community's priorities identified in the 2024-2026 Consolidated Plan, discussing the estimated resources to be made available for fiscal year 26-27, and summarize the proposed projects to be undertaken through the Community Development Block Grant and Home Investment Partnership Programs, and request public feedback on the proposed projects. Okay, I'm sorry. What is the 2026 Annual Action Plan? So the Annual Action Plan is a one-year strategy that outlines how the City of Rocky Mount and Down East Home Consortium will use the CDBG and home funds to support local priorities. The plan period is July 1, 2026 through July 30th, July 1, 2026 through June 30th, 2027. Using the goals and objectives established from the three-year consolidated plan, this annual action plan, which is a three-year plan implementing fiscal year 26, would describe how CDBG and home funds would be distributed to low to moderate income residents. The priority areas or needs: 1, increasing access and improved quality affordable housing, eliminating slum and blight influences, improve public facilities and infrastructure, expand public services, economic development, and planning and administration. This year's estimated home allocation, and since this slide was prepared, we have received our funding allocation effective April 4th. And so we're anticipating to receive, or expecting to receive, for as the Down East Home Consortium, $377,993.36. The City of Rocky Mount expects to receive for the CDBG program $515,443. These are grant funds that are non-competitive funds awarded from HUD based on a formula that considers the community size, demographics, and housing characteristics. City of Rocky Mount proposed activities for fiscal year 2026 for CDBG. Proposed activities include single-family housing rehabilitation, home buyer assistance, Section 108 repayment, public services, and planning and administration. As you can see, this is the allocation that the city would receive for CDBG activities. These activities would not be applicable to the consortium for the Home Investment Partnership Program. The next slide, the 2026 proposed home budget. As you know, the city serves as the lead entity for the Down East Home Consortium, and the consortium is comprised of 9 participating jurisdictions in Nash and Edgecombe counties. Those 9 participating jurisdictions include the City of Rocky Mount, Edgecombe County, Canida, Princeville, Pine Tops, Whitakers, Sharpsburg, Middlesex, Spring Hope, and missing one, Spring Hope, and let's see.
Is it Tarboro?
No, sir, not Tarboro.
Macclesfield.
No, not Macclesfield, I'm sorry. So it includes, so it's 3 jurisdictions in Nash County that it includes Middlesex, Spring Hope, and Whitakers. Whitakers is also part of Edgecombe County as well. And so those are the 3 entities there, and then for as Edgecombe County jurisdictions would be Canida, Pine Tops, Princeville, and Sharpsburg. Thank you. So the money is allocated in home funding based on the following activities. 10% HUD requires us to set aside for home funds. That program administration amount goes to the city of Rocky Mount in the amount of $37,799. For Rocky Mount, scattered site housing rehabilitation includes $177,655. There is a 15% set aside that's required for community housing development organization, and that local nonprofit that's a certified community housing development organization is Southeastern North Carolina Community Development Corporation, which is an arm of the Rocky Mount Housing Authority. So that amount, $56,700.36, would go specifically to that specific organization. Home, Edgecombe County, Coneta, Pine Tops, and Princeville scattered site housing rehabilitation would receive $75,597. For its other participating jurisdictions, Spring Hope, Middlesex, and Whitakers would receive $15,121. And lastly, the town of Sharpsburg, $15,121. So that makes a grand total of expected to receive $377,993.36. Also a part of tonight's public hearing is Rocky Mount is proposing to amend the annual action plan for 2018, 2019, and 2020 program years to reallocate home funds from the CHOTO, which is Southeastern North Carolina CDC, set aside, and fund down payment assistance activities for timely expenditures for home funds. As you can see, those years are 2018, 2019, and 2020, and they total $201,703.70. So the next steps in the process would involve, we are about to close out the public notice period tomorrow, May 5th. So it's been on public notice display from April 2nd to May 5th. There's been a public hearing in Rocky Mount on the 13th of April. There's one tonight here this evening. And May 11th, we anticipate taking it back to the Rocky Mount City Council to review and approve the submission to HUD. And we anticipate on the 14th of May submitting the annual action plan to HUD. And the new fiscal year, of course, would begin July 1. For more information or to provide written comments, you can submit those to Cornelia McGee at 972-1178 or via email at cornelia.mcgee-anthony@rockymountnc.gov. That concludes my presentation for the public hearing.
Any questions from the board?
I did have one. I really didn't understand how you do amendments from 2018, 19, and 20 when we're in 2026.
Right. So that is federal funds that have been specifically set aside for the Community Housing Development Organization. As I shared with you in the presentation, that organization is Southeastern North Carolina Community Development Corporation. And so what happens is normally we have to set aside and reserve funds for development projects. And so we are anticipating a development project from Southeastern North Carolina CDC this year, very shortly. I believe that presentation they may be presenting now as we speak to their board. But at this time, because of the time frame, we have 8 years to spend federal funds. And so 2018 funds are in question. And so we know that with a development project, any development project would take 2 to 3 years before it actually is completed. So that's why we're recommending this evening to propose those 3 years, 2018, 2019, and 2020, moving them from home CHOTO set-aside funds to regular home funds that would support down payment assistance, which would still support the CHOTO when they create opportunities for home ownership through development units, new construction development units.
Thank you.
Any other questions from the board?
And Mr. Chairman, if I
Go
could
ahead.
just add to follow up on that question, the Southeastern North Carolina CDC, they have a really good, it's a HUD certified new home buyer program. And so folks that can potentially get down payment assistance go through that program, and they do a really good job of that. So I would encourage anyone here in the room that may be or think you might be eligible or know someone who might be eligible and interested in this down payment assistance program to please look up information for the Southeast North Carolina CDC, which they are a sister nonprofit to Rocky Mount Housing Authority, and they run a really good program.
Any other questions? At this time, Madam Clerk, is anybody listed to speak
Everybody is listed as public petition, sir.
at public petition?
Petitions, yes, sir.
Any other questions from the board? Hearing none, this was just for our information, nothing to be approved, is that correct? That's for the public.
Yes, they can, because that would be funds that you would actually be receiving in this upcoming year. That was referenced on this slide for proposed funding for Edgecombe County.
Hearing no public comments, I'd like to adjourn the public hearing. At this time, it's recommended that we approve
The annual action plan for the Down East Home Consortium was presented.
So moved.
Is there a second? Questions? All in favor, let it be known by the voting sign aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Hearing none is approved. Thank you, Ms. McGee.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, if you don't mind, could we possibly move one agenda item up just before public petition, and that be the resolution recognizing May as Older Americans Month?
Without any
That's okay
objections?
to the board? So that's item 5.4 on your agenda. And we'd like to invite up, we have with us tonight Ms. Deborah Coley, who is our Director for our Office on Aging, and she is going to come and present this resolution for your consideration.
Hearing no objection, please come forward, Ms. Coley. Good evening.
Since 1963, May has been known as Older Americans Month. Whereas May is nationally recognized as Older Americans Month, it is a time to acknowledge the contributions of older Americans to our communities and to raise awareness about issues affecting them. Whereas Older Americans Month has been a time to celebrate the achievements and vital contributions of older Americans across the nation. Whereas the theme for Older Americans Month 2026, Champion Your Health, underscores prevention, wellness, and personal responsibility as cornerstones of healthy aging. It encourages taking time to an active role in managing and advocating for your health, assessing preventive care, and making informed decisions. This year, we are focused on evidence-based approaches, self-management, caregiving roles, and community partnerships that empower individuals to lead healthy lives. Whereas Edgecombe County, North Carolina recognizes the importance of honoring our older residents and appreciate the wealth of knowledge, experience, and wisdom. Whereas, according to Global Aging, people today are living longer and generally healthier lives. This represents the triumph of public health, medical advancement, and economic development. Whereas, globally, the population aged 80 years or older is growing faster than the younger age group. The population of centurions, those aged 100, grows every year. Whereas Edgecombe County remains committed to promoting the health, safety, and well-being of its residents, including older adults, by providing access to the vital services, fostering a sense of community, and celebrating the diverse contributions of our older citizens. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Board of Commissioners for Edgecombe County, North Carolina, do hereby recognize and celebrate National Older Americans Month throughout the month of May, and encourages all residents to recognize adults, their contributions, and commitment to supporting their health and independence. Adopted this 4th day of May, Mr. Leonard Wiggins, Chairman of the Board, Tammy Faison, Clerk, Board Clerk.
Is there a motion?
Second.
Questions? All in favor, let it be known by the voting sign aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Hearing none,
Thank
it
you.
is approved. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Cole.
Now, before I was interrupted,
Sorry about that.
thank you, Mr. Evans.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. Thank you for that.
Public petitions, first one on the list, please call it, Madam Clerk.
Joan Carnegie. Hello, everybody.
Good evening.
My name is Joan White Carnegie. My address is 546 Old County Home Road, Tarboro, North Carolina, 27886. And I'm opposing, I know we're not talking about that, but I'm gonna talk about that every chance I get, because I actually live right off of Howard Avenue Extension, going into Kingsborough. And everyone on my road, we're senior citizens, we're the ones she's talking about. We need to make sure that the air quality, and if you really want to know about the air quality, I challenge any of you to drive out there at night, and you can see the stars, and it's almost like going to Chapel Hill, to the atrium. You can come out there and you can see the flowers. We have had bears, we've had skunks, we've had everything, every road you could think of. And I'm afraid that if that data center comes out that way, the quality of our air is going to change. The quality of our water is going to change. The animals that are already living there and are already fighting for land from all the housing developments out that way, they're going to die out. And it's very important that we realize that a lot of us, I just moved back home 5 years ago, and I moved home to take care of my 89-year-old mother. And I'm telling you right now, we've got too many people my age coming back, and then to come home and they have to wonder, am I going to be able to breathe, or am I going to be able to drink the water? Are we going to have to go through some of the things some of these bigger places have gone through? We want to keep the quality of our air, our water, and our community in the county, just like people in the city do. Thank you.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, next.
Cumulus Dancing.
Mr. Camp, next.
Joanna Rudd.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for letting me speak. Just here, as usual, wearing red, opposing a data center in Edgecombe County. I live in Martin County. My name is Joanna Rudder, 308 East Commerce Street in Oak City, Martin County. I'm downstream from this data center, so it does impact me too. Data centers don't really care about county lines. Air pollution, water pollution doesn't really stick within county borders. So that's why I've been involved in this fight since November, since seeing y'all for the first time. What a beautiful day that was. I'm now interning with the North Carolina Environmental Justice Network, reporting to Rania Masri. I'm very excited to be studying with her as part of my social work degree in community management and public policy. It's an incredible learning experience, so I'm just letting y'all know that I'll be working with them until December, working statewide. I spoke with the Rockingham County Democratic Party. That was a hell of a 3-hour drive there and back in one day, but got to speak to about a room of 70 people who had never heard about data centers before. There's very little public education about these issues everywhere. 3 hours away, another rural county, next to Stokes, next to Person. They've got all those data centers going too, and folks are really undereducated about this issue. Some folks had never even heard about how they would be powered. A lot of folks didn't know about the water quality issues. So just here to continue raising awareness and stand with the rest of Edgecombe neighbors for data center, and that last word really matters, accountability. Thank you.
Zanice Bullock.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
I'm not going to repeat everything about the data center, but I am Janice Bullock. I live in the Kingsborough area, 217 Freedom Lane. And I am here tonight, want to thank you for the opportunity to be heard. Want to thank you for the opportunity to convene an advisory group in order to look deeper into the ramifications of the data center. More importantly, I'm here to stand alongside the Director of Edgecombe County on Aging, Edgecombe County Council on Aging, this being Older Americans Month. This is so important. Older Americans are the majority of the people that are living in our area. And the concern of our citizens is real. At my last presence here at the commissioners' meeting, I recall, Mr. Wiggins, you commented that the citizens have woke up. And I'm here to present signatures of over 1,000 citizens that have woke up, that are against the data center. Let me state this. We are not against industry coming in to our area. We welcome industry, but we want it to be the right type of industry. Not something that's going to be detrimental to our citizens health-wise, income-wise, water rate-wise, all those concerns that we are concerned about. So I am here to present the signatures of over 1,000 citizens in your districts that are saying, no, please no, listen to us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Brianna Baker.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Brianna Storm Baker. I live on 205 Louise Street, Canida, North Carolina, 27819. I've come before the board tonight to give you all copies of the resolution for the town of Canida to oppose data center development in Edgecombe County. The Town of Canida Board unanimously passed this resolution on the 14th day of April 2026. So I would like for all of you to be able to have it and look over it, because our small town, for Canida, I believe, we took this step because we wanted to make sure that our voices were heard on this issue. Now, the following statements that I'm about to say are not me representing the board or anything like that, even though I am a commissioner. But this is something that I feel very, very deeply in my heart. It is absolutely crazy work that this board is considering the data center development, considering this drought that we have had in Edgecombe County. I know of some of the residents in Edgecombe County that, due to the drought, they have experienced a lack of water accessibility. The wells were their only source of water. When this drought hit, they started experiencing brown, murky water because those water tables were so low. And so that's obviously a very bad thing, because when you don't have reliable, clean access to water, your very way of life changes. You're not able to wash the dishes, wash your clothes, take a shower. It's an utterly dehumanizing experience to go through that. And it's just crazy work that when our county is not able to provide clean, fresh, reliable water for our residents, that we're considering this development of, the data centers coming to Edgecombe County that are going to take away this life-giving, life-sustaining resource from us and make this situation with our droughts and stuff worse. We have Edgecombe County and really all of eastern North Carolina, we have a lot of unfortunate experiences with droughts and having to cut back on water and stuff. And as a young person, it really, really scares me that for the future we're going to have to deal with even worse of a situation like that. I believe that clean water shouldn't be a luxury that is only given to people based on their zip codes, socioeconomic status. It should be given to all of our residents of Edgecombe County. Is that my time?
I think that's what it signals.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Larry Whitehead.
Good afternoon,
Good afternoon.
you guys. I wanted to come up here to introduce myself and my company name, WW Fast Movers. We serve Edgecombe County in transportation, medical transportation, and we got 20 vehicles and 20 employees, and we greatly appreciate the serve the community. And I think that we should look into maybe try to do something further for the community, because there's a lot of people out here need rides, need transportation for different areas. If we can look into that, and we would be glad to be a great help to help you guys out, help the community out, if we can. And I got some cards here, if I can pass some cards out. I saw you looking at my shirt here. So you can pass some of the cards out to some of the people. And it was wild when I got this opportunity to do this job, that I turned the job around, and we don't have no complaints. We be on time, and we serve about 50 to 60 clients a day. Yeah.
Well, I know you now. I know who to complain to. That was just a joke. Go ahead.
Thank y'all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do you only serve, I have one question. You only serve Edgecombe County?
Oh.
You only serve Edgecombe County?
Yeah, Edgecombe County for right now.
Okay.
I know Nash is coming up, but we got to see what happens with that.
Okay.
And just, I think you all know, but just to make sure we're all understanding, as you know, we have a primary provider for Medicaid transportation, which is Tar River Transit, and we have a secondary provider, and they are our secondary.
This is their first year.
No.
Second year?
Second.
It's your second.
Second. Okay.
That is the end of the list.
Okay. Well, I guess I would just like to comment on behalf of the board. You know, it is the board's responsibility to consider what comes before us. But I made the comment earlier that no data center was on it. It's not to say that you cannot come to any meeting and speak about it. It was just to let you know that this board was not on our agenda to be considered for tonight. We certainly will. We know it's a very important item for the community, and it's not something that we would consider without the community fully on the agenda, without it being fully, the community being fully informed as to whether it was coming to this board for that. Any other comment from any commissioner? Hearing none. What was that character we were talking about? Remember that character we were talking about? That's that character that I was talking about. Yeah, there you go. That's that character. That was a good one. At this time, ladies and gentlemen, we're scheduled to, is there a motion to recess the regular Board of Commissioners meeting and reconvene as Board of Equalization and Review?
So moved. Second.
Questions? All in favor, let it be known by the voting sign aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Hearing none. At this time, ladies and gentlemen, we are convened as the Board of Equalization and Review. That is review the tax petitions each year, and that is what we are going to do. I call the meeting to order. Mr. Evans?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to call for Ms. Teresa Lewis, our tax administrator, and she will walk us through those items for you to consider tonight.
Good evening, Board.
Good evening.
So on your agenda packet in front of you, I have two petitioners tonight. The first one is listed as Mr. Joan and Jack Cooper Revocable Trust. Their 2026 value that was sent out to them was $49,100. Their opinion of value on their application for appeal was $33,100. We're recommended to reduce that value to $17,461. If you notice the map on the behind me, it outlines the piece of property in question. The appellate's basis for appeal is subject property is appraised at more than its fair market value. After review of the property record card and the new soil analysis from the GIS department, appraisal staff confirmed that the property is being assessed as agricultural property, but it also included 1 acre home site. We made a small change in relation to the land segment grade based off of the new soil analysis and removed the home site valuation. The recommended value is in line with our current schedule values and with the PUV deferral. The taxable value would be reduced to $2,509. The taxpayers consented to the recommended changes and therefore are not here tonight. Jason, do you mind changing that to an aerial so they can tell that it's all woodland on the map? Maybe he hears me, maybe not. But it is all woodland and it's not a buildable lot at this time. And we were assessing it as if there was available septic and well on that property. And you can see that it's not that, and that's what the adjustment's for. The taxpayer does have present use value and is approved for that.
Is there a motion to accept the
Second.
questions? All in favor, let it be known by the vote sign aye.
Aye.
All opposed, let us approve. Next.
Okay, so the next appeal is a little bit different than what the board is used to seeing because this is a appeal on the discovery. If you remember last month, we voted on different letters that have to go before you. So this one is a discovery, and it was discovered, and the taxpayer's appealing the tax bill itself. So I'm going to read that. His request. He included, said, here is a new application that Edgecombe County sent me to fill out. I was going through a rough time medically and misplaced the original application and kind of forgot about it. Please file the new application so we can leave the tax deferment repealed and build the correct amount. My cancer chemo starts on March 18th. I go to NASH twice a week for about 30 weeks. I'll be available most of the time if you need to contact me. If you have any questions or additional information is needed, please call. Hope we can get some kind of resolution to the tax problem. I appreciate any help that you can offer. The property in question is on the map. It belongs to Claude and Carrie Barnes Jr. It's 282.73 acres located off of NC 33 Northwest. And you can see that outline behind you. It has both woodland and cropland. And the appellate's basis for appeal is the subject property did qualify and still qualifies for the PUV program. The taxpayer's parcel was pulled for PUV audit in accordance with 105-296J of the North Carolina General Statutes, and this audit process for the PUV program was revamped when Mr. Art Bradley came on staff with the assessor's office in 2024. When Mr. Barnes called and we received his documentation sent, we noticed that the correspondence sent him by our office didn't include his notice to appeal, and therefore we mailed additional letter after the billing dated March 19, 2026, clearly outlining the appeal process. This allowed the applicant to submit the application for review, and we have reviewed the application, and it does indeed meet the requirements for the present use value program. Recommending to authorize the release of the tax bill generated under this audit in accordance with NCGS 105-312K. And the documentation is behind that letter. It shows that his application, along with the letters that were mailed to him on April 24th, which is the initial audit letter, and then on September 17th, 2025. And that is the letter that did not really outline his actual appeal process clearly enough for him to respond to us in time. We then invoiced the bill on March 5th, 2026, and he responded immediately with that one.
You're saying we had to do something different with him?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. So we actually audited him and then did the discovery, which requires a 30-day appeal outlined with that process. And then when that did not receive any response from the taxpayer, we invoiced that bill.
And now what are we doing? What are you asking us to
So
do
we're
now?
asking for you to allow under 105-312K, and that statute is attached. It says, let me read that for you.
You're saying this is the first time we've done this?
Yes, sir. And
Okay.
105-312K is the power to compromise. And after a tax receipt computed and prepared as required by sections G and H of this section has been delivered and charged to the tax collector as prescribed in subsection J above, which is the discovery process, the Board of the County Commissioners, upon petition of the taxpayer, may compromise, settle, or adjust the county's claim for taxes arising therefrom. The Board of Commissioners may, by resolution, delegate the authority granted by this section to the Board of Equalization Review and included any board created by resolution pursuant to 105-322 and any special board established in a local act. So I'm asking that the board allow me to release that tax bill that was billed in error, inevitably, that he did qualify. He just failed to respond to his audit requirements.
And is this a compromise?
Yes, sir.
So what we're doing differently, we normally get what is a compromise with the other people. They've already been compromised by you. And this is something that the board has to do.
This is something that is the statutes allows the board to do, yes, sir. But what's different is with the value appeals, you're adjusting prior to the billing. Once the bill is done, this is what we're doing now. We have actually billed this property, and he does meet the requirements of the program.
Any other
And
questions?
I'm asking for you to allow me to zero out his tax bill and keep him in the present use value
Do
program.
something you got the authority to do anytime. Okay, anyway.
That's right. It's just because
just a
you're
time
in
issue.
session. That's
It's a
right.
time
Yes,
issue.
sir.
Any other questions for the tax? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve? Second? Questions? All in favor, let it be known by the voting sign aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Hearing none, it is approved.
And just another note, this process was because of an audit. The statute 105-296J, this requires the assessor to audit 1/8 of all parcels in the county classified by this taxation of present use value to verify that these parcels qualify for the classification. And by this method, the assessor must review the eligibility of all parcels classified for taxation at present use value in the 8-year period. The period of the review process is based on an average of the preceding 3 years' data, and the assessor may request assistance from the FSA, Cooperative Extension Service, or Forestry Service, or the Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services, or similar organizations. And so that requirement in the statute is the reason why our office audited and started the process for the taxpayer to provide the documentation that he failed to do prior to his tax bill being assessed. Okay. Any further questions?
Moving on, what else?
Okay, good. All right, so today the Board of Equalization is going to adjourn for the purpose of accepting any additional appeals. Today is our advertised date. We do have 2 other appeals that we have received that we will be bringing to you at the June meeting. They are both commercial properties, and income approach is being assessed on them right now. So we're asking for some additional information for them. So,
Is this the first time for this too?
no, sir.
Okay, because I normally, we adjourn here with no other business, don't?
That's right. We just, they just sent in the application this week, and we haven't been able to get the information to bring a good recommendation to you. Income approach requires prior year, 3 years prior to the evaluation, which is 2024, their income, their expenses, and be able to do the income approach on that.
And my questions are just based on us getting an understanding. Okay?
That's right. No, you're fine.
Right, so that, because, you
yes,
know, this
sir.
is technical, that,
Yes, sir. So one of them is a Section 42 housing complex that the statutes require us to do the income approach on it. And the other one is a rest home facility located here in Edgecombe County that is asking for us not to value it as commercial property, but asking us to do the income approach on that. So those were a little bit more complicated, and so we're asking for a little bit more additional information to be able to bring a good recommendation to you at the next meeting.
is it all right if we adjourn rather than recess?
I don't know.
I'm asking,
Michael.
I'm asking Mr. Peterson.
I think my notes had to, last year we adjourned for the purpose of accepting any new applications, but you can still reconvene, at the next board meeting.
What is your
reasonable approach?
Yes, just for the purpose of considering,
Any new appeals?
is that a motion? Would that be a motion from the board?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Questions? All in favor, let it be known by the voting sign aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Hearing none.
And because we have not finalized those last two appeals, I'm asking to, at the next meeting, to do the resolution to accept our values, so.
All right. You know, we stand adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there a motion to recess the Board of Equalization Review until June 1, 2026, and then at that time reconvene, and now reconvene as the Board of Commissioners?
So moved.
Second? Questions? All in favor, let it be known by the voting sign aye. Aye. All opposed? Hearing none, ladies and gentlemen, we're now back sitting as your Board of Commissioners. And the reason for that is that we are two boards. We also, a lot of citizen councils have boards of adjustments. They don't do this. They're assigned to another board. We serve as that Board of Adjustment, as county commission. Equalization and review. Thank you so much. Moving on, next, Mr. Evans.
Next, you have, excuse me, budget amendments for your consideration. There are 5 that require your approval. You can see budget amendment number 1 is for funds that are allocated to Northeastern Carolina Prep School, the charter school here in town. You've approved funding for them in current fiscal year. This is to move that funding. It currently sits in the required education category, but to move it to outside agencies, being that this is this funding comes from general fund and is not necessarily tied with other educational funding. Number 2 is to appropriate insurance claim proceeds received in the sheriff's office to the appropriate line. Budget amendment number 3 is to appropriate additional grant funds in the health department in the what's called the AA 701 child fatality case reporting funding program. Budget amendment number 4 is to appropriate additional revenue to the jail canteen sales. You may remember that for the jail canteen sales, the cards that family and friends can put on cards for inmates that are housed in the detention center, the county receives a 10% commission on that. There was some changeover last year in the software program that the company uses, and so as a result, there was some delay in the company sending that commission for a number of months. So this will bring us up to actual revenue received thus far this year, and so you'll see us appropriating both on that revenue line and then two corresponding expenditure lines. Budget amendment number 5 is, again, another budget amendment to appropriate an insurance claim received in the sheriff's office. The others are for your information. Happy to answer any questions that you have about any of those. Recommend that you approve budget amendments 1 through 5.
Motion?
So moved.
Questions?
Just a comment.
Go right ahead.
And this is me being ticky-tacky on this stuff, but these are official meeting documents, and there's a lot of errors and corrections in these, and that could be easily corrected and adjusted before it comes to a board packet. So let's get these typed up correctly before they
On,
present to
on the
us.
budget amendment?
Yeah.
Okay.
If you scroll through the manager approved and the CFO approved, about half of them have an error on them, so.
We'll pay closer attention to that. Yes, sir.
Any other questions or comments? All in favor, let me know by the voting sign aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Hearing none, they are approved. Next.
Next is regarding recommended amendments to our personnel policy. There are, as you see, there are a number of changes recommended, so I'll read through the memo to give overview, but happy to go into detail on any of them if you have questions. Over the past several months, our compensation plan team, which is comprised of representatives from County Administration Office, Finance, Payroll, IT, and Human Resources, that group has conducted a comprehensive review and selected sections in our personnel policy. This review was initiated to address operational inconsistencies, ensure compliance with applicable laws, and improve clarity across departments with varying work schedules. As a result of this collaborative effort, several recommended updates are presented for the board's consideration. And the summary of the recommended changes. The first is regarding the holiday pay policy. The policy has been revised to clarify that holiday pay is tied to an employee's regularly scheduled workday. Employees will receive holiday pay only if the holiday falls on a day they are scheduled to work. Number two is regarding overtime policy for both non-exempt and law enforcement. This is for clarification. Clarifications were added to reinforce that only hours actually worked count towards overtime eligibility and to ensure compliance with the Fair Labor Standards Act. That was noted already under the section for non-exempt. It should have also been consistently noted under the section for law enforcement, so it adds that there. Number three is regarding vacation leave accrual and usage. The policy has been updated to transition from a fixed monthly accrual model to an hourly based accrual system based on hours and pay status. Additionally, leave usage has been clarified to ensure that leave is charged based on scheduled work hours missed. The policy accommodates hourly employees. We needed to make this change because we now do have, other than part-time staff, we do have some full-time staff that are not salaried but hourly and primarily in emergency services, EMS staff. And so we needed to do this to better and more accurately calculate their leave accrual. Number four, sick leave accrual, same thing. We're making that same change as we did for vacation leave. Sick leave has been aligned with the same hour-based accrual methodology used for vacation leave, ensuring proportional accrual for hourly employees. Number five is administrative leave during inclement weather. The policy now formally authorizes the use of administrative leave when county operations are closed and clarifies that such leave does not count as hours worked for overtime purposes. The policy also restricts unauthorized work during closures to prevent liability and unintended overtime. Number six is meal periods and rest breaks. The revised policy would require employees to take schedule meal breaks and prohibits the practice of skipping meals to alter work schedule. Right now, the policy says that meal breaks are given, including a lunch break for those who work over 6 hours, I believe it is, full-time staff. But it's not specified that it is required that they take that. This will allow us to be more consistent for operations and budgeting purposes. Number seven is travel authorization. Clarifications were made for approval authority to be consistent with the recently amended fiscal policies. This ensures fiscal oversight and establishes clear expectations for advance approval and funding availability. You may recall a few months ago, Ms. Barfield brought back to you amendment to our fiscal policies. It changed travel authorizations, as it said at the time, all of them had to be approved by Ms. Barfield and myself, and that's a whole lot. And not all of those need our approval. So that was changed such that only out-of-state travel comes to me for approval. So this is just to make it consistent, that same change consistent in our personnel policy. And the last one is meal reimbursement. This policy has been updated to align with the federal per diem standards and provides clearer guidance on allowable reimbursement limits and exceptions. You may remember some time back, we brought before you to increase our per diem meal allowance. I believe it was originally $40 to $60. It had not been changed in a long time. But now what we're realizing is that, and that's total meals for the full day. Depending on where an employee might be traveling, some places that won't get you very far. Not that we're trying to be extravagant in the meals that we have if any of our staff are traveling. But so what this does, it will align our policy to the federal standard. You will see behind that particular policy is the federal standard that is provided. This is updated annually, and you'll see the federal standard is $68 per day. And you'll see it breaks it down per meal. So if an employee were only to, go for part of a day and only eat breakfast, that would be what the limit is per that federal standard. This is subject to change every year. I don't know that it changes every year, but it's subject to change every year. What you'll also see in the recommended language is that there are some destinations that are considered to be high cost per the U.S. General Services Administration, and in those cases the employee can request to be reimbursed at that cost per that schedule. You have a copy in here. This is not every city obviously, but what's in your packet shows you in North Carolina those cities or areas that are designated as those high cost areas. So I think this will help to improve that policy and help it better align with common practice from these federal standards. So those are the recommended changes. I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Any questions on matters?
I did have one.
Sorry.
I had someone call, I can't remember what department. Do we still have something in there called hazard pay?
We do, yes.
And if so, can you explain to me what that is comprised of, and do we actually use it?
We have on occasion. You might remember we first used it when COVID. That's when we added. You all approved it for our adding it to our policy, and so it is intended. I can't quote the exact section verbatim. It is intended to be used in extraordinary circumstances where hazards are faced by employees. Obviously, the judgment call is made by me. It is something that would be rarely used by the county. Otherwise, we would have to use it a lot, and it would cost more than the county would consider. But generally, it is on a case-by-case determination by me as to whether or not it's used.
Any other questions? If not, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Question, any other questions? All in favor, let it be known by the vote sign aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Hearing none, it is approved. Moving on. Next, Ms. Evans.
Next, you have consideration to approve a proclamation recognizing the week of May 3rd through the 9th of this year as County Clerk Week. And if you like, Mr. Chairman, we'll have Ms. Best to come and read that proclamation for you.
I'm gonna ask the clerk to read it.
Okay, all right.
Come on, Ms. Best. Come on. She wasn't ready. She had to search for it,
Edgecombe County Board of Commissioners proclaimed the week of May 3rd through May 9th, 2026 as Clerks to the Board of County Commissioners Week. Whereas the role of the Clerk to the Board of County Commissioners, the clerk, is crucial for maintaining an informed community and facilitating effective local governance through communication among citizens, governing bodies, and administrative departments. And whereas the Office of Municipal Clerk, one of the oldest in local government, continues to be essential as the official record keepers of their counties with responsibilities that are deeply rooted in history. And whereas North Carolina General Statute 153A-111 requires every Board of County Commissioners to appoint or designate a clerk to the board to perform any duties that may be required by law or the Board of Commissioners, including but not limited to the preparation, filing, and protection of local government records, which are vital for accountability and transparency. And whereas the Office of the Municipal Clerk provides a professional link between the citizens, the local governing bodies, and agencies of government at other levels, and serves as the information center on functions of local government and the community. Whereas clerks enhance their professional skills through active participation in the North Carolina Association of County Clerks to the Board of Commissioners, which in partnership with the University of North Carolina Chapel Hill School of Government and the International Institute of Municipal Clerks, offers nationally recognized certification programs and continuous professional education. And whereas clerks across America serve tirelessly to maintain decorum for record managements, and their craft has gone unrecognized for generations. And now therefore be it proclaimed by the Edgecombe County Board of Commissioners that the week of May 3rd through May 9th, 2026 will be recognized as Clerks to the Boards of County Commissioners Week in Edgecombe County, and extends its appreciation to our Clerk to the Board, Tammy Faison, and to all municipal clerks for the vital services they perform and their exemplary dedication to the county they represent. Adopted this the 4th day of May, 2026.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Questions? All in favor, let me know by voting sign aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Hearing none, this proclamation is approved. Any comments from the board?
Yes, sir.
Go right ahead.
Miss Tammy, thank you for taking care of us. Thank you. Thank you for always having our best interest. We really appreciate that.
Any other comments?
I'd like to say, thank you on behalf of myself,
You can,
this board.
oh, you did include us?
Yes, sir.
Okay, go right ahead. That's our gift.
That's our gift, exactly. We don't want this week to go by without acknowledging how much we appreciate all your hard work and keeping us on the right page.
Well, on behalf of the board, I'll just say, when we were looking for a clerk, you know, it's a job that I personally thought, you know, you don't find many people that's trained to do the work of the clerk. It's something that you have to do and then grow in. And I think Mr. Evans did an exceptional job of choosing our clerk. She took off running. She brought an experience to us that we're good to have. I'm saying these good things about you now. Okay. And they are true. They are actually true. So we just appreciate what you do for us. And the job description itself does not adequately explain fully what any of you do as employees. Because as public employees, you do so many other things that's not necessarily in your job description. Thank you for being our clerk, and thank all of our employees also for what you do.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Hearing none, moving on. Moving on. Was there somebody else? Okay. Next, moving on, go ahead.
Next is item 5.5, this consideration to approve a resolution celebrating the 80th birthday of Miss Florence Arnold Armstrong. I do want to point out, it was brought to my attention earlier, something very important that I failed to put in this resolution that was recognizing that she was a county commissioner at one point. So we will.
We came on the board together.
All right. So if you all will adopt it with knowing that change is coming, we will correct that and get it back to you, Mr. Chairman, for your signature.
Without any objections, is there a motion?
So moved. Second.
Questions?
Would you like for me to read them?
Please read.
So the motion reads as resolution in celebration of the 80th birthday of Miss Florence Arnold Armstrong. Whereas the members of the Edgecombe County Board of Commissioners believe that all our citizens contribute to the greatness of our county, yet there are some whose impact and milestones are especially worthy of recognition. And whereas on this joyful occasion we extend our warmest wishes to Miss Florence Arnold Armstrong as she celebrates her 80th birthday. And whereas Miss Armstrong has dedicated many years of her life to the field of education, serving students, families, and the community as both an educator and administrator, helping to shape the lives of countless individuals. And whereas her commitment to public service continues through her involvement with the Edgecombe County Board of Elections, where she has contributed her time, leadership, and experience in support of the democratic process. And whereas Ms. Armstrong's life reflects a legacy of service, leadership, and dedication to the people of Edgecombe County, and we recognize the lasting impact of her contributions. And whereas we realize that the strength of our county rests on the shoulders of devoted citizens like Ms. Armstrong, to whom we are truly grateful. Now therefore be it officially and publicly noted that the Edgecombe County Board of Commissioners extends its heartfelt congratulations and best wishes to Ms. Florence Arnold Armstrong on this grand occasion of her 80th birthday, and we celebrate her life, legacy, and contributions to Edgecombe County. This the 4th day of May 2026.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Questions?
With the correction,
With the correction, yes, ma'am.
because she was the first African-American female elected to the Board of County Commissioners. And I count it an honor that she set the stage for me to become the second, and then Ms. Powell to follow. So we appreciate her hard work.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor, let it be known by the voting sign aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Hearing none, it is approved. Next, moving on.
Next is item 5.6, considering the approval resolution to declare May 7th as National Day of Prayer in Edgecombe County. You have a copy of that resolution in your agenda packet. And I know Commissioner Harris is very instrumental in helping to organize that every year and leads that, in fact, every year and does a fantastic job of that. So thank you for that, Commissioner Harris.
Go ahead. Ms. Harris, would you like to read that?
Look forward to seeing each and every one of you on Thursday at 12 noon. The official statement proclaiming May 7, 2026 as National Day of Prayer. Whereas my fellow commissioners bestow upon me the duty of serving as the official voice of the Edgecombe County Board of Commissioners where appropriate and necessary, and in so elected me to serve as chairman. And whereas since the first call to prayer in 1775 by the Continental Congress, prayer has been a part of our country's history. And whereas an act of Congress and President Harry S. Truman established the annually known National Day of Prayer in America in 1952. And whereas the 100th Congress of the United States passed a bill signed by President Ronald Reagan to set aside the first Thursday in May each year as the date on which the National Day of Prayer should be celebrated. And whereas the National Day of Prayer belongs to all Americans and is a day that transcends differences, bringing together citizens from all backgrounds and faiths to join in united prayer to acknowledge our dependence on God, to give thanks for blessings received, and to ask for guidance for our leaders. And whereas this day is an opportunity for all citizens to reflect on the needs of our community and respect all of our citizens and their beliefs, but also supports those of faith who desire to gather and pray. Whereas May 7, 2026 marks the 75th consecutive observance of the National Day of Prayer with the theme of Glorify God among all nations, seeking Him in every generation. Now therefore be it officially and publicly noted on behalf of the Edgecombe County Board of Commissioners, I do hereby proclaim May 7, 2026 as National Day of Prayer in Edgecombe County, and encourage all citizens to observe this special day to pray for unity in the hearts of all mankind and for Edgecombe County, our state, and our nation. This, the 4th day of May 2026, signed Chairman Leonard Wiggins, Chairman Tammy Faison, Clerk to the Board.
Is there a motion? Make a motion, Ms. Harris.
So moved. Second.
Questions? All in favor, let it be known by the voting sign aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Hearing none, it is approved. Moving on.
Next is consideration to approve an amendment to our capital reserve ordinance. This new project ordinance consolidates the school capital reserve project ordinance and the North Edgecombe High School project ordinance into a single multi-year school capital project ordinance. The ordinance also updates projected sales tax transfers based on actual collections and updated projections through June of 2026. Incorporates state lottery funding by category and authorized amounts, and aligns available funding to ensure the county's required match is covered, with remaining funds reserved for future school capital needs. I request that you approve the school capital reserve project ordinance amendment as presented.
I ask for any questions? Any questions?
A question.
Mhm.
Is this including section 3 school capital projects funds expenditures as well?
Yes, sir. It's all one. That's a great question. It's several pages to the ordinance. So you'll see first it outlines the revenues by source, and then on the second page it identifies the the expenditure budgets by items, and then it goes around the rest of the language for the ordinance on that third page. Yes, sir.
Well, if that being the case, then I hope it's just a typo. I don't know where Bakersfield is, and we have a Baskerville, not a Bakersfield. I think there's a typo on
Oh, okay,
section 3.
gotcha. Yes, sir. Thank you for pointing that out. We will make that correction.
Well, I'll give a motion with the.
You make a motion? You
My
make a
motion with correction.
Second?
I second it.
Questions? All in favor, let it be known by the voting sign of aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Hearing none, it is approved. Next.
Next is regarding, approve resolution to oppose modifications to the county property tax authority. As I'm sure, I know that you all are aware, we've talked about it in this meeting, we've shared information from the Association of County Commissioners that both the House and the Senate in North Carolina General Assembly have created committees to review counties and towns' taxing authority in North Carolina, and are positioning themselves to make some type of legislative, take some type of legislative action to change that authority or cap that authority in some way. I think it's still yet to be determined exactly what that change might be. I know one bill that I think has already been introduced is a bill that would put on the ballot for this November's election a referendum to give the General Assembly the authority to create some measures to in some way curb or limit county and town's authority with property tax. Certainly understand everyone from a property tax, property ownership and tax consideration, all of us are property tax payers. Concerned about those growing costs, but also, counties and towns are concerned about limited authority and being able to generate the revenue needed to provide the services that are required. So the resolution that you see before us is one that is presented by the North Carolina Association of County Commissioners, has already been adopted by a number of counties, and recommend that you consider adopting tonight as well.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Any questions from the room?
Just a comment. The association's doing a good job of providing some updates on that, almost bi-weekly at this point. But would recommend everyone join in on those and just kind of, they've done a really good job of presenting that. They've created marketing videos around it. So it is a very important thing that I don't think many people understand what's even being talked about at this point. So I've tried to start to educate people on what that would mean for us here if these changes were to take place.
Yeah, I was just gonna remind everybody on Thursday from 3:30 to 5, there's a virtual convening to discuss the latest updates on property tax reform that the association is putting on. It gives you an opportunity to hear firsthand from our folks in the General Assembly as well as on the association to give us the update of what the last discussion was.
One thing it would do, you can come and talk to us about the issues right there. If this passes, there's no need to come to talk to us about tax because it would be in the hands of the General Assembly, or it would have statutorily told us what we could or could not do. Any other comments? All in favor, let it be known by the voting sign aye. Aye. All opposed? Hearing none, it is approved. Next, Mr. Evans.
Next, as you know, we are required by state statute to hold a public hearing before approving our budget for next fiscal year. We plan to present that for the public at your June meeting, and so recommend that you call for a public hearing to be held on June 1st, at the June 1st meeting at 6 p.m.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second? Questions? All in favor, let it be known by the voting sign aye. Aye. All opposed? Hearing none, it is approved. And we will have our budget meeting when, Mr. Evans?
Yes, sir. So we plan to have our budget work session on May 20th at 10 a.m.
Okay.
That will be here in this room, and that will be where I will present initially to this full board recommended budget for next fiscal year. You have the opportunity, it's like a work session, or it is a work session, so you'll have the opportunity to ask as many questions as you like, as well as to give direction to staff on any changes you like to see before the final budget is presented. I'd
And
like
we-
to also note that our budget committee, which is comprised of 3 of our commissioners, Commissioner Webb, Commissioner Boswell, and Commissioner Powell, we will have 2 budget committee meetings. One is planned for this coming Thursday, the 7th, at 4 o'clock, and then the second one on the 14th, next Thursday. They will review at least initial considerations for the budget and make some recommendations to us as staff.
And the June 1st meeting is first, but we do not approve the budget. We normally call another meeting before the end of July.
That's correct.
Two.
Right. Yes, sir. Right now, we're looking for that second meeting in June to be on June 22nd. That's a Monday, but we'll certainly, at your June 1st meeting, ask you all to officially call for that special meeting to be held.
Moving on. Go
So
ahead.
June 20th is gonna be the only day.
22nd,
I mean, the 20th at 10, you said y'all gonna have the
May
May
20th.
20th.
Well, it's kind of up to us, Ms. Harris, in terms of,
They have a quorum, I won't be here.
I'm saying it's usually up to us if we not satisfied with what we hear.
That's right. That's just a proposal.
Okay, we can also call another meeting. We can recess that meeting and continue that budget session. Any other comments or questions? Next, moving on.
Next is regarding approval of bad debt write-off for the health department. You'll see the uncollected debt in the health department that is more than 6 months. It is considered uncollectible, and per policy is brought to first to our Human Services Board and then to you for your approval. As we've shared before, if any of these account holders were to come to the health department and reactivate their account, the debt will be brought back to the table to be collected, but for now, we're recommending for the period of October 1, 25 to March 31st, 26, the amount of $152.47 debt be written off, and it comes with a recommendation from the Human Services Board.
Motion,
So moved.
questions? All in favor, let it be known by the vote sign of aye. Aye. All opposed, hearing none, it is approved. Next.
Next is regarding the transition of the town of Speed and acceptance of assets. As you are aware, the town of Speed is in the process of relinquishing its municipal charter, with dissolution anticipated to take effect July 1 of this year. As part of this process, the town must divest of all assets, including cash, real property, and personal property. I recommend that the county accepts these assets and that any financial resources be reinvested into the Speed community for projects and priorities identified with input from a future community advisory group from the community. Planning and Development Department is working to incorporate the area into the county's Unified Development Ordinance through an overlay district, which you saw an initial presentation of that at your retreat. That will be brought back as part of a public hearing at a later date. Also, Mr. Peters is working with Speed's attorney to draft an interlocal agreement outlining the details of the asset transfer and transition. That agreement will be brought before the board at a future meeting as well. I recommend that you approve the attached resolution to acknowledge the dissolution of the town of Speed, authorize the county to accept municipal assets, and to affirm the intent to reinvest funds into the Speed community.
Any questions of, if not, is there a motion?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
Any questions? All in favor, let it be known by the voting sign of aye. Aye. All opposed, hearing none, it is approved. Next.
Next is regarding our cooperative agreement with the North Carolina Division of Employment and Independence for People with Disabilities. As you know, we annually enter into this agreement to assist eligible individuals in gaining employment. These services include counseling, training, education, transportation, job placement, assistive technology, and other support services. For those services, the county provides matching funds which for FY27 will be $23,892. We also provide office space for their staff. I recommend that the board approves the attached agreement and authorize me to execute this agreement electronically.
Motion?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Questions? All in favor, let it be known by the voting sign of aye.
Aye.
All opposed, hearing none, it is approved. What's the next appointments?
Yes, sir. You have Ms. Natasha Knight who is being recommended as an appointment for our Getting Off the List Affordable and Safe Housing Advisory Board. She would be an at-large appointee.
A motion?
So moved.
Second.
Questions? All in favor, let it be known by voting sign aye. Aye. All opposed, hearing none, it is approved. After list and release, anything for the board's attention, Mr. Evans?
No, sir, Mr. Chairman. Happy to answer any questions that you might
Is
have.
there a motion to approve? Second?
Second.
Questions? All in favor, let it be known by the voting sign aye. Aye. All opposed, hearing none, it is approved. Contracts, anything for the board?
You have the
We got
three
that.
contracts before you. Prime Health Services is a contract amendment. Thompson Price Scott Adams and Company, which is our, the auditing firm for our contract for the audit for FY '26. Schindler Elevator Corporation, this is a change order adding $5,142.86 to that contract. And then the fourth one, which is the one you gave permission to add that, and that is with IMS Healthcare, increases that contract by $46,200 to a total of $656,040. Recommend that you approve those contracts.
Motion?
So moved.
Second? Chair seconds. Questions? Any questions? All in favor, let it be known by voting sign aye. Aye. All opposed? Hearing none, they are approved. Departmental contracts, Mr. Evans.
You have in your packet our water and sewer update, solid waste update. I'd like to first invite Ms. Barfield to come up to give you her monthly report, and following her, Mr. Kelvin Jones, our Parks and Recreation Director, would like to update you on some new activities.
Good evening, Commissioners.
Good evening.
I'll try to keep it brief since I know we've had a long meeting here. Don't have anything particular to draw out, just say with ad valorem taxes, we're at 97%. That would be through March on our financial software. For sales tax, you're looking at about 7 months worth of spending, so that represents through January sales. So sales tax at this point is looking good. It looks like we will, at this point, we're anticipating meeting budget, but we'll continue to watch as we get into the latter months of the fiscal year. In terms of intergovernmental revenue, that looks down because a lot of that, we get some large funding at the end of the fiscal year. And then with our grants, we get reimbursed on some of those large grants. It's just based on spending. So if the spending is low, so is the revenue. Public safety and human services continue to be still our largest cost drivers. And just to bring a particular note to you, if you'll notice at the bottom of the first page, the transfers will be done later at the end of the year, so you won't notice the impact of that till later. Same thing with landfill. The fund is stable. We do expect to be posting closure costs within the next month or so that would significantly increase the expenditures at year end. I'll keep you posted. And then, of course, water and sewer is stable. Collections are not where we would like for them to be in the last quarter. But, you know, it's also worth noting that expenditures are down as well. Unless you have any particular questions,
Any
that's all I'll
questions?
point out.
Any questions?
My question is, water and sewer collections. What's the problem there?
I don't know that there's a particular problem. It could be based on usage. And we're still, you know, monitoring it. They're probably not as strong as we'd like to see them. But I don't think that indicates that there's necessarily a problem.
Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, thank you.
Good evening.
What you say?
Good evening.
What you say?
Good evening.
Okay, I didn't hear you. Speak up.
The Edgecombe County Elementary School Basketball League in its first season concluded as of the 25th of April. After 9 weeks of programming, the initiative seems to have proven to be socially and financially successful for the Edgecombe County Public School System. The league served as a fundraiser mechanism for ECPS and a positive behavior incentive for students, which means every student didn't have the opportunity to participate. You had to have good grades, good behavior, as well as try out for it. In a time where youth sports environment is fragile, this initiative stood out due to us not having any type of physical altercations or serious injuries to athletes. We have to give praise to the Edgecombe County Sheriff's Office for that. Their presence is everything. And after the first week, we were able to get back with them and increase the presence that we had, taking that from one officer on duty to 2 officers. And then as we got to rivalry week and the tournament where we had bigger crowds, eventually 3. So thank them for that, because that presence is everything. And I think their presence also contributed to us having no incidents as well. Equally impactful socially is the parent and community engagement, and that was overall the vision for myself and Dr. Bryant when introducing this. We have some Saturdays where we got up to 400 people, and that would be the final 2. We normally average between 200 to 300 people for the whole 9 weeks. And that is attendance across the county. So that's from Pontops, Sharpsburg, Princeville. Every municipality pretty much participated in this event by us having all of the elementary schools. We extend our appreciation to the board, first and foremost, both boards, the Board of Commissioners and the board of the Edgecombe County Public School System Board. I would like to give a special recognition to Saeed Murphy, Dr. Denisha Barnes, Miss England Austin, Amy Pierce, Dr. Battle, our Commissioner of Officiating, Stephen Gallahue, Mr. Michael Braxton, a certified referee that came in and helped us out to make sure that we were training our volunteer referees the correct way, as well as coaches, principals, athletes, and volunteers that made this initiative possible. The overwhelming support and response from the community has created strong momentum for future programming, but it is also equated into reputable organizations talks that would like to partner in us to assist with programming, marketing, and fundraising moving forward, and that is Edgecombe County Parks and Recreation. So this initiative opened the door for other partnerships as well. Special Olympics. Special Olympics was hosted. We had our first 2 events under Edgecombe County Parks and Recreation. That was April 16th, which was young athletes, and April 17th. Both events were held at Tarboro High School. The goal for myself and the committee coming into this year with me as the first year local coordinator was to expand what we already did to enhance the experience of the athlete and the parent. So Special Olympics is geared towards the athletes. Obviously, we have the games, we have the T-shirts. What makes it more engaging to the parents is the entertainment factors that we add. So as a Special Olympics department, we don't post pictures of the athletes being entertained. But the more entertainment we provide to the parents, the more likely you are to pull out your phone and engage and see or record your athlete participating in these things. Some of the additional attractions that we added was the Abrams Amusement Train and Basketball Trailer. We had community partners come in such as Sunset Slush, which generously donated 200 complimentary ices to both days. So they donated 200 and we chipped in with the rest. That was a big contribution by it being 2 of the hottest days of the month. Have those out there. The participation from local heroes, where the company sent out Mario. So Mario walked around with the touch-a truck. You had pictures. You could have an icy and take a picture with Mario. So that was some of the positive additions that we've added, and the feedback from the participants and family on these have been very, very positive. We will have fall games this year for the first time, which will take place in November. Fall games would be polar opposite of spring games, which is inside. So that demographic that we don't hit in the spring, we now have opportunities to hit them in the fall. As we reflect on the progress made in April, Edgecombe County Parks and Recreation remains energized by the momentum of our partnerships, programs, and community engagement. From our young athletes to our inclusive programming, and we would like to start introducing community engagement efforts as well, such as the beautification of Willow Grove Park, which is a park that we own and operate on the north side of the county. We encourage the board and the community to remain engaged and be on the lookout for expanding programming, new partnerships, and innovative opportunities that will further enhance the quality of life to all residents in Edgecombe County. Thank you. Any questions?
Any questions?
I look forward to seeing something done at that Willow Grove Park because it has a lot of history. As a young woman, we were there every weekend. We had ball games, we had a women's league. Every community had a women's league, and we all met at Willow Grove School. The men cooked while the women played softball. The children played. You know, it was just a wonderful time in that area, and I think they would love to have something back there for that community.
We've performed a internal exercise where my advisory board member, Miss Lorraine Dickens, who lives close to the property, she's a big advocate for the north side, and for the past, I would say 5 Sundays, every Sunday she'll go to the park, she'll send me pictures of people actively playing, whether it's 15, 20 on the basketball court, little kids on the equipment, people using that walking trail. So whether it's 3 people or 30, we're going to have people out there that's going to use the equipment. We can do our due diligence to make sure that it's beautiful.
And you say you had volunteer officials. What ages are they?
So the volunteer officials are the coaches. So when it comes to producing a sporting event, the most overhead is your referees. What most departments do is they will have a booking agent or someone that provides the refs for us. By this being the first year, and as trying to conserve those funds, I strategically came up with the coaches. They were volunteer refs.
Okay.
We couldn't pay the coaches to coach because we also had ECPS employees that coached, and they weren't allowed to make any additional funds. So I guess the best way to even that out would be to not pay anybody to coach, but I then paid coaches to learn how to become volunteer referees. At the implementation of a commissioner of officiating, Mr. Stephen Gallahue, so that was me delegating. He made sure that the refs, they took correspondent courses such as concussion protocol, officiating the basketball. So not only did these 12 refs learn how to ref, but they also were able to do some resume building as well.
Well, I guess that was one of the things that I was leading to. If we're going to do that through the volunteers, how can our program help these folks to get the certification to do that?
Well, a lot of the correspondent courses that we offered this year, we found online, and they were free. To become a certified ref, I think it's like $96, and it would go to the state. What we could do is we have connections on the boards that are surrounded by Edgecombe County Parks and Recreation, such as Mr. James Mercer, who is a certified referee, has a referee business. We could definitely reach out to see how.
And I'm saying that is one of the things I would like today. I know when I was coming along, what we did, we were students that with city leagues, we were maybe paid $3, to officiate, but we learned how. We didn't get into certification, but it's just those youngsters that are involved in it that don't play and know the game, okay? Yeah. But they know the game, okay? And just ideas, in terms of how we can and as far as the officiators, that's something that if it's something that the board needs to look at it, talk with Ms. Evans, okay?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Go ahead, Mr. Brown.
So I just wanted to stand up there. Also, if you don't have me here, always make sure you bring your attitude. Let me nervous. So I I just want to take a moment to, I have been the liaison for the county for Special Olympics now for about 6 years, I believe. I've been involved in it. The town of Tarver has done a great job, and we partnered with the town of Tarver running Special Olympics. Last year, the town of Tarver got out of it. They're still helping support, but they are no longer running it.
Okay.
That fell up under Edgecombe County this year. Kelvin came, I think, 2 years you've been here? Okay. So it kind of got thrown in his lap last year. When we finished up the games last year, it was, while they were tearing down, they took everything and handed it to Kelvin and said, this is yours.
Okay.
And so that's literal, not paperwork. I'm talking about bags and bags and bags of stuff. In case you ever go out to the games, you look around, all those flags and signs, it didn't just magically get put up. Somebody has to be there, somebody has to do it. I'll tell you the bad things first, and then I'll get to the good things. This is not planned. Now, behind closed doors, Kelvin and I had some conversations about how we're going to make things better next year. And along with the staff from ECPS, we've been meeting monthly. And I think the meeting that we held after the event went well. We got a lot of things out in the open. We cleared a lot of the air that needed to be cleared, but it helped us get better. I will say this year, out of all the years I have helped volunteer and be a part of it, I think the kids seem to enjoy the games this year more than they ever have. Now, I'm not going to say they didn't do it 20 years ago, but more than since I've been a part, they seem to enjoy it, and that is what, number one, matters the most. Kelvin has done a great job. I still think we got a long ways to go to make it better, that we want to make it better. First and foremost, we're already talking about a fall game. I don't know that we've ever had a fall game. If we have, it's been longer since I've been here. We're also talking about potentially sending some of our athletes to state games.
Right.
I know when Mr. Carmen was here, he was very active in Special Olympics. They did a lot of state game stuff. I'm not sure exactly the games that were involved in it, but he participated in that in Raleigh. But we're talking about bringing that back. We've got some athletes that are part of our Special Olympics that I think could go to state games. And with Kelvin's help, I think we're going to get there. But again, I just want to take a moment to recognize him. I know there's still some things we're going to do better, but for his first try at it, I thought he done a great job. And we're just going to continue to make this thing better and better. So I just wanted to give you a moment and just say you did a great job.
Well, I guess I would say, you got to try it to fail at it.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and, we learn from what we do, and because something doesn't go well, we don't need to continue to try. Continue the effort. It appears that you're doing, you act like you're doing it well. Okay, and that's part of the job. Okay, thank you for what you do. Any other board members? And I think it's important for us to help you grow that program. One of the things that I just mentioned, I was talking to him about, just for the board's information, is when and if it happens, if we're talking about Phillips becoming closed, what will we do with that facility? And I'm suggesting now that we look at it for whatever the renovation is making some portion of that part of our recreation program. Mr. Evans, I'm talking to you.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
We're grinning because
Okay.
we've
Okay. Well, and I'm saying that.
been dreaming for a year.
Well, I'm saying that anywhere that there's a school or a facility that we just look at it. Okay, if it's presently there, depending on where the county is, if we want to grow it, we're talking about a county recreation program where we provide the revenue, will let us do that. Let's look at it, okay?
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
Any other comments from the board?
I'd like to just piggyback. Everybody said all those wonderful things, and they were all true. I'm very proud of you. And I just want to say that I work with the children in the community as well, and especially our young boys, and you are their idol. So what I tell you, like my mama used to tell me, wife, what you doing for our children? Because they're looking at you. But it's been so positive So I can't wait to get, I'm already claiming the youth and the Phillips and all that. I'm already claiming that. So I'm just very proud of what you've done for our community.
Any other comment? Thank you for you get something said, something else said, okay? Moving on, moving to the manager's report. Go ahead,
Yes, sir,
Mr.
Mr. Chairman. And I would just want to, not to belabor it, but I just want to tack on, and I just feel led to say this. I understand that, people have varying opinions about government in general, local government in particular. We talked about that some at our retreat. But I think we've got the best department heads of any state, any county in this state. And I feel like if our citizens could get to meet all of our staff, but at least our department heads, and see the wonderful work that they're doing. Some of them, their work is kind of behind the scenes, doesn't really get a whole lot of shine or glory, but it's critical to this organization. The work that they do is a little bit more forward-facing. We get to celebrate a little bit more. We are fortunate to have a really good leadership team in this organization, and I'm convinced that the more our citizens get a chance to see that, the more that they will realize that too. So just wanted to take that moment to say that. And speaking of that, under manager's report, we don't have any recent retirees, none since last month's meeting. But I do have sad news to share that many of us recently joined in with Ms. Battle and her team to celebrate the life of Ms. Virginia Lyons Ewell. She was a fantastic employee of the county through Department of Social Services. Over 40 years, she retired and came back and worked and did a lot of great things for our department, for the citizens of this county. Unfortunately, Ms. Ewell passed away on April 14th, I believe it was. And so just tonight, I want the record of this meeting to acknowledge our great sympathy for her family, particularly in the Department of Social Services, and recognize and celebrate her, what she did for our county through her many years of service here through Department of Social Services.
And I think that's the same sentiment of Citizens Board, and let the record reflect that.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You also have under manager's report, my major events and updates, workforce development indicators, the monthly TDA financial report, state fire marshals, fire department inspection report.
I didn't see I saw the report. I didn't see the fire department. I didn't see that.
Yes, and that's that. I inadvertently left that out, but we added that,
Okay,
a copy
okay,
of this.
okay. That's,
So this is the annual inspection. You will notice that one department, our Canita Volunteer Fire Department, did not pass their inspection. It was due to low on personnel and some minimum response requirements. I know that they have a plan of action on addressing those concerns, and Mr. Antoine Brown, our Emergency Service Director, and his team have made themselves available to support the Canita Fire Department in any way that we can. As you've heard our team share with you before, it's a challenge across the county, and not just across this county, but all over the country. Many volunteer fire departments are having a difficult time and continuing to find volunteers. Also, this is the 250th birthday of our nation this year. Of course, more specifically on July 4th. Counties across the state are doing various activities to recognize and celebrate America 250 here in North Carolina. We do have a committee, and you'll see the names of the folks who graciously are serving on the committee in various ways. We have been participating for a few months in the statewide virtual meetings that have been held so we can hear ideas from other counties. We held our first in-person meeting last week. I want to thank Ms. Faison for spearheading the coordination of that meeting. You'll see there a number of recommendations listed here throughout, scattered out through the remainder of the year. Many of these still, we're gonna build some more details behind it, but just want you to be aware that we'll be participating with some of our partners on that committee to recognize and celebrate America 250 here in Edgecombe County. But that's all I have under manager's report, Mr. Chairman.
Commissioners, anything from you?
I wanted to find out what happened with our, local government month in April.
Oh, we did some activities. You might have seen some postings. I know some of you shot some videos. We're still rolling those out. So we did approve that. We did a resolution last month on that. Yes, ma'am.
Any other thing from commissioners?
Chairman Wiggins,
Yes, sir.
I had the honor of attending Ms. Jean Flake Harris's celebration of life service at Carlisle Funeral Home on Sunday, April the 19th, and present the resolution that Mr. Evans drafted at your charge, Chairman Wiggins. And I just want to let the entire board know just how special her service was, what a special lady she was. And again, it was indeed an honor to be there with her family, to read that resolution and then present it to them. And we received a note of thanks from her daughter, Deanna, and she was especially grateful for our thoughts and prayers during their time of bereavement.
Thank you, Mr. Webb, for
Yes, sir.
doing that.
You're certainly welcome.
Any other commissioners? Hearing none. Mr. Peters?
No, sir.
Hearing none. At this time, ladies and gentlemen, the board is scheduled to go into closed session to discuss economic development and regards to North Carolina General Statute 143-318-11A4. I did it all, Mr. Peters.
Yes,
did I do that right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, thank you. Hey, yeah, can I get a motion and a second?
Judge would be proud.
Okay, second motion, second. Okay. Questions? All in favor, let it be known by the vote sign aye. Aye. All opposed, hearing none, we're not scheduled to go into closed session. Mr. Peters has been looking at me funny every time I've been cutting that short. Okay. We ready? Is there anything coming to open session?
Nothing from staff, Mr. Chairman.
Anything from the board? Hearing nothing, there's a motion to adjourn?
Second it.
All in favor, let me know by voting sign aye. All opposed, we stand adjourned.